So today's video is a continuation of scraping data from the internet using requests in Beautiful Soup. So we're going to jump right back in. If you haven't watched the previous video, you can just go click now to watch that and then come back here when you're done. Now that that's successfully done, we're going to want to parse each part of it to make sure that we're getting all the pieces of information that we want. So to do that, we can say print item. So now to get this href right here, we can find the element here. So if we do item.find and we pass in an a tag, we're going to put href equals true because it's going to be containing an href. And then we can just pass in at the end href. So now if we were to print this out, we're going to get all the URLs and we're going to have to do some manipulation right here since it's split up. So to split it, we can actually just take this part right here, this slash URL question mark Q equals, and we can split it. So we'll call this, we'll say raw underscore link equals, and then we'll just do raw underscore link dot split, and then we're going to pass in this, and then we can also put a 1 at the end. So we could say link equals, and now if we were to print this link out, we can see that we're going to get just the link now, and we're not going to get that ugly URL query in front of it. So now if we're to open the item, sometimes you're going to get this error saying page not found. And an issue of why you might be getting this is because there are some unneeded parts in this URL that's causing it an issue and it cannot find that exact article. So the specific part of the URL that's messing it up is this and at the end. So if we were to delete this and SA all the way until the end, you can see that we're now going to be actually getting the article for it. So that's what we want. So if we take this piece again and we say dot split, and we'll say and SA, and then we'll also put equals u and, because that whole part is going to be present in all the links, and we're just going to want to remove it. This way we can actually use it. So we're going to want to put a 0 there because it's going to be pulling from the first part of the list. In this one, it was pulling from the second part of the list, which was actually the URL, but now we want just the first part because this last one is going to be everything up until that point. So now if we were to print the link out, and if we click on the link now, you can see we're actually getting the article that we want from it. So that's good, and that's a success because you don't want to write the link to your document, if it's not right and it's going to cause you an error every time. So now that the link part is done, we're going to want to keep searching that HTML to see if we can find the title. So let's take one of the titles for an example. So let's print out the item and let's also print out the link. And the point of this is we're going to take one of these websites and we're going to copy this part of the title right here. And we're going to see if it exists in the HTML. So let's scroll down and we're going to see it exists right here. And it's going to be a part of this div tag right here. So if we copy this class and we do the same thing that we just did for the first one. So we'll say title equals item.find, and we're going to pass in a div tag because that's what it is, and then its class is going to be equal to the one that we're searching for right now, which is this alphanumeric string. So just copy and paste it right here from the HTML printout we're getting. And now if we print this out, we're also going to have to do this. I realize we're going to have to do get underscore text. Just because if we were to print it out as is, it would just print out the HTML element, which we don't want. So let's just comment out where we're actually printing out the HTML. And it says none type object has no attribute get underscore text. So looks like we're having an issue actually getting the title. So So we're getting this error, and one way we can try to debug it is just printing out the item beforehand, and we can see why we're getting it. So after a few minutes of debugging, I think that we're getting this error because we're a little too specific with the class that we're iterating over up here. So actually, if we use this other one that is a little more general, you can see it's KCRYT, and then the parent of that div is this right here, this longer string. But if you were to search through it, you can see that each object does contain that class. So if we run this now, you can see we're not getting any errors, and we can actually comment out this initial HTML over here. So you can see now it's saying the exact title, you're getting the link, and there's no errors in that. And there's no errors with this right now. So now we're going to want to get the description. So if we do print item, so we're going to want to look back on Google News to get the exact description for each item. So if we copy the link that we're using and we paste it now, you can see we're looking at past 24 hours. Trump is the query. And we're going to want to copy this description it has right there. So actually, if we do inspect element, we can just hover over that element, and we can copy that whole part right there. So when you highlight it and you do control find, sometimes the description will also have pieces from the title. So you want to make sure you're not pulling exactly from the same class that was the title, because you would just be printing more information out again. So you could see here that our title class was BNEAWE. And you can see right here, it's the same class. So that's our title. If you move down to the next element, you could see this right here looks to be our description. So we're going to want to pull from the parent of that tag. So we could see that there's a span class right here, however it ends. And then it starts a new span class, but that one also ends. So we're going to want to look for a div tag. So we can actually pull from this div now, because it's actually different from this one. If you look at it, it'll say BNEAWE, and then it'll say VV, but this one says S3. So we could copy this one, and we can do a very similar approach to this right here. So if we copy this, we give it a new name, and we'll say description. And if we change the class now, we can call it this right here. And if we were to print out this description, you can see it's going to now give us all the elements, and we can actually comment out the part where we're printing out the HTML. So you could see we're actually getting the time in here as well. So it's going to say the title, the time, and then the description. And just to make sure, we're going to scroll all the way. We're just getting the description on this part. So actually, we can split up the time and the description now. So if we were to do description.split, and we're going to want to pass in this bullet right here, because this bullet is what's separating the description from the time. So if we were to pass this in with the spaces and everything, because you want to keep it, and we pass it 0, that's going to be our time. And if we were to do the same thing and pass it 1, that would be our description. So we could say time, and then we can just say descript or bio, call it just a different name. This way we don't get any issues. And we'll print out time, and we will also print out our descript variable. Call it whatever you want. I'm not the best at naming variables. But you can see now we're getting the title. In this case, it's very similar to the description. However, it goes on afterwards. And we also get the time with it. And you can see in this case, the description starts off a different way. And that's how you know for sure that you're not exactly pulling the title and printing it out again on the bottom. So now we can begin writing this to a CSV file. So if we comment out all of this, we're going to want to say open, and we're going to call it whatever we want to call the file. So we can just say data.csv, and you want to include the .csv because that is going to define the file type, and you're also going to want to pass in a, which will allow us to read it and write it, and we want to just call it document, or anything you want to call it, and you're just going to say document.write, and then in here now we're going to want to put in curly brackets, and we're going to want to put it in 4 times because we're writing 4 separate things to it. So, and we also want to put a /n because this will enter it. So this will be one column, this will be another column, this will be another, this will be the last one, and then it'll break, and then the next entry in there will be on a new line. So we can then do .format, and we're going to want to pass in title for the first one. Then we can say time, and then we could say descript. Make sure we're passing in the right one, and then we're also going to want to pass in the link. So we can just say link, and then now if we were to write this, and actually we're going to want to close it at the end as well. So we're going to want to say document.close. This way we don't get any errors when we're trying to open it up. So if we run it now, if we run it and we open up our file explorer, you can navigate into where you're running this file, and you could see there's a new entry called data.csv. So if we were to open this up, it's going to open up a new file, and you could see it's written. However, you can begin to see a little bit of errors, but it's not missing anything. We do have the link in here, we do have the description, we do have the time. However, you could see this entry right here, it's getting messed up and it's skewing it to the right. Now, why might this be the issue? It's because when you write to a CSV file, it stands for comma, separator, and then I don't know what the V stands for, but it's separated by commas. That's how it knows how to create and move on to the next column. So you can tell that in some of the description and the titles, there is a comma which is causing this to move over to another column when it really shouldn't be. It should all be staying in one. So the way to go about solving that would just be to remove it and replace it with just say a blank space. And we're going to say title.replace, and we're going to pass in a comma, and then we're also going to want to pass in a blank, which is just open quote. And we're going to want to do the same for description. So this right here is going to replace every comma in here with just a blank spot. And this will also be good because when we're feeding this data into NLP and doing different works with it, we're going to have to manipulate our data a lot, and comma and punctuations are oftentimes removed, so it's not going to cause us too much error and shouldn't change up the meaning too much for us. So if we were to write this now and close this file, you're actually going to want to delete it because it's just going to write a new one anyway. So it'll write a new file, and if we open it up, you can see that everything's fine now. We have everything in the same column. This is all the links, that's all the description, that's all the time, and this is all of the titles. So that's going to wrap it up for today. Tomorrow I'm going to release a video where I show you how to go through multiple pages on Google Chrome, so you're not just getting the first page results, you're also getting the last page as well, and you're getting all that's in between. So stay tuned for that video to drop, and if you're looking for anything to watch, definitely check out my Python tutorial playlist. Thank you.